What's going on, guys? It's Jedi here, bringing you another zombies ranking video, and today we're going to rank every wonder weapon from worst to best. This is going to be Treyarch only, by the way. The only wonder weapons I didn't rank in this list were the gauntlets from Ancient Evil, the Scavenger in VR11 from Call of the Dead, and the Raygun Mark II variants from Alpha Omega. This is because I never really played those maps, so it wouldn't be fair for me to rank those without first-hand knowledge of the weapons. But anyways, let me know what your lists are in the comments below, as well as what you think about my list. And without further ado, let's get into it. So starting off at the number 33 spot, the worst wonder weapon ever in zombies is the jet gun from Transit. I didn't even bother getting footage for this piece of trash because it's just not even worth it, bro. It's such a pain in the ass to collect all the parts, and even though it has unlimited ammo, it does break after a short amount of usage, where if you want to use it again, you'd have to go back and collect all the parts again through the fog and endure denizens mauling your face. I like my sanity, and I enjoy not wasting my time, so I make sure to avoid this damn thing at all costs whenever I decide to play Transit. Now at the number 32 spot on this list, we got the thundergun from Tog der Toten. The thundergun is so bad because it spits out snowballs that can deal damage to yourself, especially if you're in a close quarters situation. And this is why PhD is so crucial for this gun, but that just makes it even more dumb and just sucks. And not only that, but the fact that this wonder weapon is only really effective when the shots are directed at the ground rather than at the zombies themselves. I mean, come on, bro. I will give it to the thundergun for being able to freeze zombies, but it's not like there's another wonder weapon that can do that more effectively. Which leads us to our number 31 spot, where we have the Winter's Howl. It's the thundergun's older and slightly better brother. It does everything the thundergun does, but better, since it doesn't deal splash damage and it does freeze the zombies. However, the damage does suck ass since it requires multiple shots to kill zombies past about round 20, even when upgraded. And it is iconic for how much of a shit weapon it is, but that also adds charm to it since it was introduced on one of the hardest maps of all time, 5. For the number 30 spot, we have the Kraken from Voyage of Despair. Now, I appreciate the thought that went into creating this wonder weapon, however, the practical use of it is just straight trash, since it becomes a 2-shot to kill a zombie by round 25, I believe. I don't know, I haven't played Voyage in forever, can you blame me? This ranking is for all the different kinds of Krakens, including the base version, so overall, it's just not a great wonder weapon, and honestly, you're better off just using the Helion Salvo. But at number 29 is the Blundergat from Mob of the Dead. It pains me to put this weapon this low, but as the unpacked version of the gun, it is not the best and can only get you to the 30s and possibly the 40s before it stops one-shotting zombies, which is going to burn through your ammo. The packed versions are much better, as they should be, but for a standard wonder weapon, it's not terrible, but it's just also not the best. And coming in at the number 28 spot is the Sliquifier from Die Rise. Now, pre-patch, this shit would be at number 1, no doubt, since a single shot can end the whole round, which is insane to think about. But since we're talking about post-patch Sliquifier, it's safe to say it is one of the worst wonder weapons, especially since single shots to zombies last only in the early rounds, and it becomes a slip and slide gun for the remainder of the game. Another negative would be the splash damage it deals, especially if the player has a red screen and is about to down. It's sad to see this beloved weapon so far down on this list, but it only makes sense since we live in a post-patch Die Rise world. For the number 27 spot, we have the Wrath of the Ancients from Der Eisendrache, and I am strictly talking about the base version of the bow, by the way. This bow is decent for killing zombies for the early rounds and has a mid ammo amount. It is primarily only used as a temporary weapon until the player gets one of the upgraded versions. I personally don't use the Wrath of the Ancients for my whole game on DE, and I can't imagine that many people do, especially for the reasons I just listed. And that is why it comes in at number 27. The Death of Orion from 9 is at the 26th spot on our list. This wonder weapon is quite unique and can be fun to use. It has a primary shot of electricity that is able to be charged up to deal more damage to the zombies, as well as it cause a chain effect of electricity through a horde, similar to the fire coming out of the Ark of the Covenant from Indiana Jones. I appreciate the fact that Treyarch came up with a unique wonder weapon to fit 9's aesthetic, however, I just wish it was more powerful and could be at a higher spot on this list. The Raygun Mark I comes in at number 25. I'm probably going to get a lot of angry comments, but I don't care, because you have to admit the Raygun is not what it once was in the older games like Black Ops 1. It has fallen off tremendously, especially compared to other wonder weapons that completely blow it out of the water. Don't get me wrong, I love the Raygun and it was always my go-to from the box in earlier games, but its damage caps out too soon against zombies around round 40 or 50-ish, which makes it useless for high round runs. I love you, Raygun, but you have been outclassed by significantly better weapons on this list, which leads us to our number 24 spot. Coming in at number 24, we have the Alisters Folly from Dead of the Night. This is essentially a slightly better version of the Raygun Mark I, since it does one-shot zombies up until round 26, which is an improvement to the Raygun's drop-off on rounds like 18 to 22. It does have splash damage, however, like the Raygun, and does have a lower magazine capacity, which is why I said that it's slightly better. However, it is a more ideal wonder weapon to have if you're planning on getting to high rounds, since it will take you further with one-shotting until you eventually have to rely on your Helion Salvo and Specialists. Overall though, it's a decent wonder weapon and deserves its spot at number 24. The Ray K84 from Firebase Z comes in at number 23 on our list. This may seem controversial, but the Ray K84 is a more refined version of the previous two wonder weapons, since it's essentially an AR version of the Raygun, and deals no splash damage to the player. It has 30 rounds non-upgraded and 50 rounds when upgraded in the magazine, and has a secondary fire option which provides a Gersh type of thing, and when it's shot at with the primary fire, it explodes, killing all the nearby zombies. Now, this is a useful ability, especially if you're in a close quarters environment, especially after it has been buffed back to its launch status, where it can now one-shot an entire horde with the explosive rounds, regardless of round number. It's really, really great, and that's why it comes in at number 23. At number 22, we have the WF DG2. Now, this is a classic wonder weapon, and is just as iconic as the Raygun. It has unlimited damage and can take the player to high rounds. However, it only electrocutes about 10 zombies at a time. With the low magazine count, even when upgraded, it makes it difficult to get through those high rounds unless you use gobblegums. It does have immense splash damage, so that does drag it down a bit, but overall, it's a solid wonder weapon to use for a fun game of zombies. At the number 21 spot is going to be the Fire Bow from Drak, and it is arguably the worst version of the upgraded bows, since it is not great at killing zombies. However, it does help to kill the Panzer, but honestly at that point you'd just be better off with using the other bows or just a packed KRM. The DIE Shockwave comes in at number 20. The base version of this weapon upgraded is the best, which is funny because the other elemental versions are worse, yet they are harder to achieve. It's a solid wonder weapon and can get you to high rounds relatively easy, and you could say that it has unlimited ammo for being able to suck up the zombies for extra ammo, but when you get to higher rounds, it just takes a shit ton of time to suck up the zombies to the point where it just becomes almost impossible. Now, coming in at the number 19 spot on the list is going to be the KT4 from Zetsubo no Shima. Now, this weapon is pretty fun to use and does good amounts of damage against zombies as well as the Thrashers, and it is essentially a better version of the Liquefier, post-patch version, obviously. It mainly just lacks enough ammo for both the packed and non-packed versions, which is why it comes in as a middle-of-the-road wonder weapon. At number 18, we have the Void Bow from Drak. One of the reasons why many, including myself, avoid this bow, no pun intended, is because it is the most complex bow to upgrade, whereas you can get better bows for less complicated steps. It is better at killing zombies than the Fire Bow is, however, it just sucks at killing panzers, let's be honest. So I guess there's some balance to that, I guess. It's just such a mid-wonder weapon and can be easily forgettable, especially since it gets outshined by way better versions of the bows. The original Raygun Mark II from Buried comes in at number 17. This version of the Raygun is arguably the best, however, the reason why it is below the Mark III is because it simply starts dropping off in damage tremendously once you reach the 40s, even when upgraded. Which sucks, because the Mark II runs out of ammo quickly because of that, and sometimes you can only get through about half the round with all the ammo, and the other half you'd have to depend on buildables or the paralyzer. So this is why it comes in at number 17. For the number 16 spot, it's going to be the Raygun Mark III from Gerard Krovi. This is the more improved version of the Mark II, as it should be, hence it being the Mark III. It now features a dual-wield setup, with the right being a traditional raygun, and the left being an energy cannon that shoots yellow balls of energy that you can then shoot with your raygun to activate a sort of Gersh device. Which is a really cool idea, and does work well up to about rounds 50 through 60. Then it becomes essentially useless by itself for killing zombies, but if you have a gun with dead wire, then you'll be fine, since it'll stall them for a short while. At the number 15 spot, we have the Crysal Axe Savager from Forsaken. This is probably going to give me some hate in the comments, but after reviewing this wonder weapon further, it really is a decent weapon and has amazing abilities like being able to turn from an axe into a handheld SMG. The damage is pretty good, but starts falling off damage-wise at around round 70 for the axe swinging and around like 50 to 60 for the SMG variant. Probably sooner, I can't recall, but somewhere around there. But overall, it's a fun and unique weapon to use, and I'm glad Treyarch added this to close off Cold War instead of just reusing old assets like the Raygun or Thundergun like they did in Alpha Omega and Tog der Toten. Now coming in at the number 14 spot is the Magma Gap from Blood of the Dead. Again, this may give me some hate, but honestly, after going from around 100 several times on Blood a little while ago, it only is useful as being a distraction against the zombies when you head into round 60 plus, which makes you have to rely on your specialists as well as your other weapons alternate ammo type. It is still a solid variant of the Blundergat, and I'd still use it for my round 100 blood attempts if I were to ever do that again. The Wave Gun from Moon comes in at our number 13 spot. This is another iconic weapon that definitely deserves the hype, especially since it was the first wonder weapon to switch into 2 variants, I believe. The dual wield version is good for the early rounds, but starts to drop off around round 40-ish when packed, so you'd just be better off using the wave gun variant, which is miles better anyway. The only thing is that the ammo is quite low even when packed, but honestly I think it's a good balance because if it had a lot more ammo, it would probably make this weapon a little too overpowered. At number 12, we have the Wind Staff from Origins. I believe this is the worst staff since it has the lowest ammo count of the 4 and does the lowest amount of damage. I will give it credit though for being fairly easy to build and upgrade, especially if you have good RNG and are able to get it before the Panzer spawns in round 8. But again, there are other better choices for you to choose from, and I know I wouldn't make the Windstaff my go-to when playing a game of Origins. Which brings us to our number 11 spot, which is the Lightning Staff. Now, it could be argued that Wind is better, but I'm here to tell you that Lightning is superior mainly due to its higher ammo count and better damage to both zombies and panzers. And it also is able to take you to higher rounds as a result, and which is why it comes in at number 11. For number 10, we have the Fire Staff. Again, it's a better version than the Wind and the Lightning Staff, and even though it may not have more ammo than the Lightning when upgraded, it does make up for it in its damage to the zombies and panzers. The charged shot especially is a great way to get out of trouble. It does start to drop off in its damage, however, around round 30 for the non-upgraded version and around round 40 through 50 for the upgraded version. And it is best to keep in mind that it is more ideal for single target damage than horde damage, which is why it comes in at number 10. Coming in at the number 9 spot, we have the Baby Gun from Shangri-La. This weapon is special because it is so unique and also because it technically deals unlimited damage to zombies. However, it all depends on how quickly you can punt those baby zombies out of your way. Otherwise, they'll down you instantly if there's a whole horde of them, so it is quite balanced in that way. However, the only drawback, like for most of these wonder weapons, is the ammo count. At number 8, we have the Cerberus from Mauer der Toten. This is a favorite of mine from Cold War because of how powerful it is, as well as how compact it is, making it easy to train the zombies while they're running at you full speed. It's also funny that the base version is the best version of the weapon, but I guess Treyarch just wanted to make it easier for us, I guess. The ammo is pretty decent when packed, but unpacked it kind of sucks. The damage is great considering when it's packed 3 times it can take you easily into the 60s, but after that, unless you use Ring of Fire, good luck killing the zombies, the disciples, and the panzers. For number 7, we have the Wolf Bow from Der Eisendrache. It is one of the best bows, especially since its charged shot does an infinite amount of damage to the zombies, but to panzers, that's a whole other story. The only problem is that if you only rely on charged shots, it takes 2 arrows out of your ammo stock. This goes for all the bows, by the way, but I'm just mentioning it now, which means that you really only have about 37 shots with it before you run out of ammo. This will obviously be a problem for the later rounds, but overall, it's pretty well balanced and pretty easy to obtain when upgrading the base bow. Now, the Ice Staff from Origins comes in at number 6. It is the best staff in Origins, and if you disagree, you're just wrong, bro. Because this is what every speedrunner and high round player uses for the runs. It kills zombies and panzers at every round, especially with its charged shot, which has an immense radius. It has decent ammo when packed and can easily take you to round 80 plus when used correctly. Now, cracking into the top 5, we have the Volcanic Withering from Mob of the Dead. This is arguably the best version of the Blundergat since it is the most ideal distraction wonder weapon when playing either solo or co-op. Especially since this single-handedly saved my ass when I would train in the showers and I was red screen. It is a lifesaver, and although it does not do mind-blowing damage to the zombies past round 40, it still does a decent amount where you can still kill them with a normal packed weapon or by using the Hell's Retriever / Redeemer. At number 4 is the Paralyzer / Petrifier from Buried. I'm putting them together since they are essentially the same damage-wise and since they both have unlimited ammo. However, of course, the Petrifier does not overheat as quickly. It is a great wonder weapon that can easily take you to round 70 plus if used correctly, especially when you count in the fact that you have many backups if it overheats, such as the dubstep machine and other buildables from Buried. For number 3, we have the stormbow from Drak. It is the best bow of the 4 for DE and is the easiest one to obtain, which is pretty funny. I appreciate how it is both a damage and distraction wonder weapon for the zombies, and the panzers, since it can pick them up with a tornado, and if you're on the lower rounds, it can kill them pretty instantaneously. It is ideal for speed runs, and it is somewhat ideal for high rounds until it eventually drops off in damage. Now coming into our number 2 spot, we have the beloved thundergun. Man, this baby is so damn good. It is easily the best get the fuck out of my way wonder weapon in zombies, hands down. It is able to take out whole hordes in pretty much any round, as well as take out bosses such as Panzers and Margwas in Revelations. It is no wonder why so many people prefer this over the Raygun if they are forced to choose between them both. And finally, coming in at number 1 on our list, the best wonder weapon in all of zombies is the Apothican Servant from Shadows of Evil. If you disagree, then you clearly have no idea how amazing this wonder weapon is, especially when it was the launch version of this weapon. Now, the launch version, this was able to be packed on Shadows by doing, a secret little glitch, and it had a shit ton of ammo, and the shots lasted for upwards of 15 to 20 seconds each, maybe even longer, but that's what I remember. But even though, even the post-launch version is amazing, especially since you can upgrade it on Revelations and receive more ammo. However, it's not as much as launch, but regardless, it still easily gets you to high rounds and stalls Margwas long enough for you to kill them with other weapons, gobblegums, and whatever else you have in your arsenal. So there you have it. That is every wonder weapon in Treyarch Zombies ranked from worst to best. If you guys enjoyed this video, then make sure to leave a like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.